So today I will be showing you how to make Crunchwrap Supremes at home. It'll be just like the Taco Bell menu item, except better, because, usually when I order Crunchwrap Supremes at Taco Bell, the distribution of ingredients is messed up, they don't put enough meat in it, maybe there's like way too many tomatoes and it's just fucking Tomato City, and it's like not pleasant, not very good. So if you make them at home, it's better. So instead of the standard lettuce, tomatoes, and sour cream thing, I'm still going to be using sour cream, but I like to make a Pico de Gallo. So you can skip the first step. There will be a timestamp for that if you're not interested in doing Pico de Gallo and you just want to do it the classic Taco Bell way. But I'd suggest Pico de Gallo. I think it's better. And so ingredients list. You will need, let's see, for the pico, you got tomato, white onion, jalapeno, cilantro, lime, salt, obviously. And then for the Crunchwrap itself, you're going to want queso sauce, shredded cheese, some kind of ground meat. I'm using ground pork because that's just what we have, but you can use beef, or, it doesn't even have to be ground meat. You could use chopped up pieces of chicken, beef, whatever, you get it. Tostada shells, the flour tortillas, the big ones, not just the little ones you can get at any old store. You need those big ones like they use at the taco shops, and sour cream, obviously, and of course seasoning for the taco meat. Anyway, here's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with making the Pico de Gallo. So the first thing you're going to want to do is chop the onion, because, pro tip, when you put the lime in with the chopped onion into the bowl first before anything else, with some salt, it gives the onion a chance to quick pickle. Oh, also, you can add a bit of cumin to your Pico de Gallo. I don't really like to do that, but that is an option. So anyway, we're going to start with the onions. Alright, so there's the onion. There's the lime. I'm going to squeeze the lime in. You want to dice up the onion. Just dice it up as much as you can. Get it nice and dicey. And it's going to make you cry. But that's okay. It's okay to cry, because it gets better in the end. And I'm going to crack some salt into there. Now, you want a lot of salt in Pico de Gallo, especially if you're making a big bowl of it. You're going to think, oh, no, it's too much salt. Just taste it as you go along. Not, yet, obviously, but when you add the tomatoes to it and all that, and you can just sort of play it by ear. So, maybe if you're congested, you can get somebody else to taste it for it. Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking soy, dude. I can't, I gotta both hands this shit real quick. Hold on. That's a lime. That's a lime. So I'm using a couple of limes, which I think that's going to be all I need, but I got a bag of limes, so, I can use more if I need to. And if not, I'll just eat them, because I do like eating limes on their own, which I wouldn't suggest you do, because it can erode the enamel on your teeth. It's too acidic, but they're quite yummy. And these are some very fresh limes. These are some high quality limes. I can just smell it on them. Ah! Okay, that one slipped out of my hand and fell on the floor, and Jesus, I need to vacuum in here, man. Fuck. Should be fine. Whatever. Alright, there we go. So it's got the lime juice in. Next I'm going to be chopping up this pepper. And now, when you chop up your jalapeno, you want it to be really dicey. You want to really dice that shit up. Right? Like, you want small pieces of jalapeno. Because Pico de Gallo, I mean, I guess it's up to one's personal taste, but you want it to be like a refreshing, you know, sort of light, summery flavor. You don't want it to be overly spicy. The purpose that the pepper serves is it is an accoutrement. It is a flavor enhancer. It's not meant to be a focal point of the dish. So anyway, I'm gonna chop up that pepper, and obviously you want to take the seeds out, because if you leave the seeds in, it's gonna be, you know, it's just gonna be too much. It's gonna overpower the other flavors. And these you can take your time, because these onions, they can quick pickle, and it's gonna be good. And so I squeezed one more lime in there. So that's 3 limes right now. They are quite small as far as limes go, and I think that'll be enough. Anyway, what I like to do when I'm chopping up a pepper like this is to sort of kind of like string it, right? Make it into like little strings. You chop it long ways down the pepper, and then boom, you got this, and you can just dice it up. And so that's what I'm gonna do. So, like so. When you're dicing, see, like, it's nice and small. When you're dicing up the pepper, this is, you know, pretty standard advice, but I frequently ignore it. Because I'm so fucking dumb. I just I chop up a hot pepper, and then I forget 2 minutes later what I had just done, and then it's like, oh, my face is itchy. You know, I rub my eyes, and then I feel like I've just been pepper sprayed. So, you know, don't touch your face after chopping food with a high capsaicin content. Wow, look at that. So next we're doing tomatoes, and look at that. It needs some beautiful red tomatoes, nice and ripe, organic, and I kind of have this strategy, because, okay, you want to de-seed the tomatoes for Pico de Gallo, because look at that shit. The seeds, the fucking membranous material around them, it's slimy. You don't want that in a diced salsa. If you're making one of them salsas that you emulsify in a blender, you just, yeah, fuck it, throw the tomato in, boom. But with Pico de Gallo, it makes a big difference to de-seed the tomatoes. You don't want seeds, you don't want slime, you just want that delicious flesh. So it's hard to do this while holding the camera, but I'm gonna kind of demonstrate here. You want to kind of cut like the sides here, and then just sort of pull it out. So I'll demonstrate. Right, so just sort of do this one-handed. Fuck. You just want to, like... Oh my gosh, I'm such a fucking dumb chud. Let me just, like... Okay. Oh. See that? See that? Then you just pull that shit out. And if the membrane, like, breaks while you're doing this, it's gonna kind of, you know, be messy, so you want to be careful. You might maybe lose a little bit of the tomato flesh near the seeds, but that's fine, honestly. You want to get some extra tomatoes, maybe a few more than you need, buy a little vine of them, and then if you don't end up using them all, just throw them into something else. Ah! So I realized watching back through that segment that I dropped my stuff, and I broke the fucking outer layer off of my portable charger, so that was a fucking win. I'm so cool for that. But anyway, you also couldn't really see what I was doing with the tomato. I'm sure maybe you could have inferred through context clues, but I want to make sure I've got my T's crossed and my I's dotted, so let's give this another go. So you see I've cut here and here, and then you're going to want to just warp. So let's try to prop that up one more time. And yeah, look at that. That is a nice clean rip. Right, so I'm using 3 tomatoes. I have more here, so I might use more if I need to, but I'll play that by ear. I think I'm only going to need 3. And so yeah, you want your chunks to be about yay big, you see? You know, not too big, not too small. You want to be able to decipher the fact that there's tomato in it visually. So yeah, there you go. And on to the next step. So look at that. I have chopped my 3 tomatoes. Now we're going to mix this together. And my hands are clean, don't worry. And, excuse me. I'm going to see if that's enough tomatoes. If not, I'll do one more, but I think that should be enough. Actually, yeah, I might need one more tomato. Or 2, even. I think, yes, I'll need 2 more tomatoes. I should say, also, I should have said this at the beginning, you want to, if possible, make your Pico de Gallo the night before, or the day before, and let it sit in the fridge with some plastic wrap over it so everything can kind of, you know, the flavors can mix together. That's what you really want, because it's better after it's sat for a while. It's plenty good just straight after you make it, but you really want to let it sit. So, I've added the desired amount of tomatoes. I think this is a good tomato to onion ratio. Yeah, look at that. It's good. Now, it's time to add the cilantro. And now, you want to err on the side of caution with the cilantro, because if you don't add enough cilantro, you can just add more. But if you add too much cilantro, you're going to fucking notice. And if you're eating this with anybody else, they're going to notice too, and they will probably complain, because, you know, some people have that genetic defect that makes them think cilantro tastes like soap, and my heart bleeds for those deficient individuals. It really does. So anyway, I'm going to chop the cilantro, chop it nice and fine and thin, and add it to the mix. So, I've added the cilantro in. I think this is enough, but it might not be. I've got a little bit more here. But you want to taste as you go. That's the important part. You want to taste it as you go so that you can get an idea of what it's going to be like in the end product. Oh my gosh. I look like I just fingered a Spriggan. So I gave my boyfriend a taste, and I took a taste myself, and he says he doesn't think it needs more cilantro, and I think I'm inclined to agree. I think that's enough cilantro, because you don't want it to get overpowering, you know? It's not got a whole lot of flavor when it's just a little bit, but once you cross that threshold of there being too much cilantro, it does get quite unpleasant, and it can really overpower. But, yeah, and like I said earlier, just some salt, maybe some cumin if that's what you're into, and you know, it's really a matter of taste. Some people like cumin in their Pico de Gallo, some people don't, but I don't. I like just salt. One thing I really don't like about the Taco Bell version of the Crunchwrap Supreme is that, to my knowledge, it doesn't contain onions, which I think is just stupid. I like onions in my stuff, so yeah, that's why when I make Crunchwraps at home, I like to make a Pico de Gallo to go in, and I just forgo the lettuce, honestly. If you want to do lettuce in yours, that's cool, but I don't really, I feel it just doesn't really add much. It's sort of, you know, Taco Bell, they're making that shit as cheap as they can, so they add lettuce as a sort of a filler.
Right.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's actually a really valuable addition, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of this cilantro. Maybe I'll just throw it in a little bowl and put it in the fridge. But
I was using stuff.
so, there we go. Got that plastic wrap on there.
So it didn't transfer.
And now we want to throw this into the fridge.
That's cool.
Wouldn't it be so fucking like just stupid if I
Yeah.
dropped this right now? I would be so pissed off.
I have
I
some
think maybe this cream is going bad.
over the course of the week.
Let's take a little snifferoo. Doesn't smell like it's off. I wonder how long heavy whipping cream lasts. I don't know. Anyway,
I look down at the lawn.
there we go. I should add also that I put a bunch of salt in after I added the tomatoes. I actually used the rest of the salt that we had because we were quite low on salt, and you do want to add more salt than you might think is necessary, but just taste it as you go along. And if you do make the mistake of over-salting it, you can add a bit of sugar to balance it out, or add more lime juice, or just add more ingredients in general and make it a bigger batch. But if you do over-salt it, it can be salvaged. Okay, so we're ready to get started with the meat. For the taco seasoning, I'll be using some paprika, pepper, salt, of course, cayenne pepper, some sumac, crushed red peppers, chili powder, oregano, cumin, and I like to add a bit of ground cinnamon, just a little dash. And I'm also throwing in the rest of the cilantro that I chopped yesterday so it doesn't go to waste, and it's not too much. And some onion that I had left over, a half of a yellow onion that was in the fridge, and a bunch of garlic, because I like garlic. So let's get it started. Oh, a bit of advice. I like to do up a bit of paprika in the pan first, as well as some crushed red peppers, just to start, because when you get that into the oil beforehand, it kind of brings out a little extra flavor. So, yeah. So, I've got everything in there now, and the onions are in there. I will add the garlic when it's a little bit more cooked, but yeah, just want to mix that around. Maybe I should have got some more meat, but that's okay. If I run out of meat, I can just use some beans or whatever. But I only have 8 tortillas, so it won't be that much of a problem. And yeah, you want to brown up the meat a bit and let the onions cook some. And you could also just buy a taco meat seasoning pack. That works too. I like to just do my own seasoning blends, but yeah, whatever works really. I've added the garlic. It'll be done in a couple minutes. Once you smell the garlic start to turn more cooked, and then I can assemble the crunch wraps. I love how this video is just like maybe 80 or 90% me yapping about salsa, and then the less time-consuming part is just making the actual meal. And yeah, when you make crunch wraps at home, the most time-consuming part of it, if you're making Pico de Gallo, is to make the Pico de Gallo, because you really want to chop things up individually and put some care into it. But yes, we're nearly done, so I'll be assembling. Flavor was a bit light, so I added some more spices, and but now it's ready to serve. Alright, so first you want to add your meat. You want to get it sort of centered on the tortilla. And you also don't want to add too much meat, because then it'll be harder to wrap. So that's a good amount. And then we're going to put some cheese on it. Oops. Yummers. And then a tostada. This one's a little damaged, but anyway, there we go. And then we want some Pico de Gallo on there. Our delicious Pico de Gallo that we've made yesterday. I got smaller tostadas, tostada shells at the store because I figured it would be easier to work with that way. So there we go. I'll get my sour cream and cheese out of the fridge. So there we go, got some sour cream, a bit of cheese. And now we are gonna, okay, how am I gonna do this? Fold this up. It's very annoying to do one-handed, but basically fold it up in this sort of a pattern, yeah? Look at that. Now you may be asking, why get shredded cheese when you've already got cheese sauce? And that serves a purpose, dear viewer, of being a sort of glue, right? Because when you do this up on the pan, it can come unwound. So you want to kind of put some cheese like in and on this part. So I'm going to do that real quick. Now, you see that? I'm going to try my best to get it down onto this already hot pan here. And there we go. And you want to let that side just go until that cheese gets crispy, and then flip it. Don't do it too early, or else it's all going to get fucked up. There we go. I flipped it off screen because it's just hard to do without the use of both hands. So yeah, you just let it cook like this, and just kind of get both sides a little bit done, and it'll be ready to go. Ow! Ow! Yummers. And of course, have a bit of red stripe while you're working. And I will continue to make these. So here's the finished product. You want it toasted enough to kind of look like this on the other side, and look at that. Looks like Taco Bell. So my boyfriend is eating his, and I think he likes it. And of course, I've got mine and a bit of Taco Bell sauce, because we actually went to the real Taco Bell recently. But this is better than anything that they can make. This is homemade, homegrown slop. Let's get another look at that. Ooh-wee.